عن أمير المؤمنين أبي حفص عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إنما العمل بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى. We're on next page now, page 9. الثالثة
دعوة إليه. الرابعة
English.
As I said, to call to it.
Okay. Now that we've learnt and we're acting upon it, is there anything else that we need to do? Now, number 3 is calling to it, giving da'wah, calling people to it, teaching people this. And knowledge is not restricted to yourself. You know something and you know that this person doesn't know it, teach that person. That's how Islam spreads. That's how people, that's how ignorance is removed from others. So this comes under the general topic of giving da'wah. Now da'wah doesn't mean you make a platform for yourself and you start recording yourself or you start teaching in the masjid. That everyone is able to give da'wah, but according to their level. Everyone has a role to play. So everyone is able to give da'wah to their own family, to their friends, to their co-workers and so on. And everyone has different skills. Maybe this person is not good at public speaking, but he's very good at social media. So he helps the masjid, he helps the da'wah in social media. This person is good at editing videos, he does that. This person, Allah's blessed him with a lot of wealth. So this person, anytime there's a project, he funds that project. All this comes under da'wah. This person might not be good at speaking, but he's very good at writing. This person writes books or blogs or whatever. Okay? So everyone has the ability to give da'wah. But to give da'wah, there are a number of conditions. Shaykh Haytham here mentions a number of conditions. Yeah, he mentions 4 in total. Number 1, you have to be sincere. You have to be sincere when giving da'wah. And why do you call people for the sake of Allah? Not for yourself so you can get followers and so on, but for the sake of Allah, so the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is high and the people accept Islam and people are called to the truth and so on. Number 2, it must be based upon Islamic knowledge. You have to have ilm. And you can't just go, this is what I teach a lot of people, just go and give da'wah. You know, some of these people are going to tabligh and so on. They don't teach them anything. Just go, give da'wah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ هَذِهِ سَبِيلِ أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ. He said to Prophet, say that this is my path of calling to Allah ala basira, upon insight. Not just upon knowledge, but upon proper insight and proper understanding of that knowledge. Otherwise what happens, it's a nice idea to give da'wah, but what happens, you end up saying things about Allah that you don't know. You end up making mistakes, you speak without knowledge. And all these are major sins. How many times you see in speaker's corner and so on, somebody says something, it's completely wrong and he actually makes it worse. He makes Islam look worse because he doesn't know what he's talking about. So having knowledge of what you are saying, having knowledge of how to say it, who you are speaking to. Also having knowledge if that issue is actually an issue where there is khilaf or not. Because some issues you might learn something. You might learn, for example, this is how you should do something. You see somebody else doing something different. Right? You can't just go around and start telling that person off, oh, I learned this Sheikh said this. Maybe he's taken another opinion, which is an accepted opinion. Not every opinion is accepted. And some people say khilaf, that's not a dalil. But if it's accepted and he's got a hadith, then you don't be as strict with that person. Right? You need to know all of this. That's why we say, you give da'wah, you start off just with those around you, not a platform. Why? People learn one thing and they go out and start implementing it everywhere. They're going to cause more corruption and more problems than they do, than they rectify. Number 3, it must be done with wisdom and patience. Okay? So wisdom, knowing how to say something, when to say it. You know, the definition of wisdom the ulama give is placing something in its correct place. Right? So what you're saying might be right, but maybe the way you're saying it is wrong. What you're saying might be right, but maybe it's not the right time to say it. Right? What you're saying might be right, but maybe you're saying too much. Just the less you say is better. What you believe is right, but maybe this time it's better for you to stay quiet. Not always. Some people they make the word wisdom as a synonym for remaining quiet. No. Yes, in some situations it can be, but some situations the wisdom is to speak up. It depends on the situation. And patience as well. Because when you're giving da'wah, there's nobody who gives da'wah except he is going to be afflicted with harm. Right? Look at the Prophet ﷺ. His own people tried to kill him. He was exiled. They tried to poison him. Sihr was done upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and so on. Right? If the Prophet gave up and then I have that patience, what would happen? The da'wah wouldn't have spread. And lastly, to know the situation of those whom you are inviting. I know who you're speaking to. The way you speak to somebody older is different to the way you speak to somebody younger. The way you speak to somebody who's learned, like a doctor or something, is different to maybe somebody who's not as learned, and so on. There's way to speak to people. So know who you are speaking to. The way you speak to a Muslim is different to the way you speak to a Christian, different to the way you speak to somebody else. Somebody who's practicing is different to somebody who's not practicing. Somebody who's a student of knowledge is different to somebody who's not a student of knowledge. So you need to know whom you are speaking to. So therefore, da'wah has how many conditions? 4 conditions. Number 1, you are sincere. Number 2, it's based upon knowledge. Number 3, you have wisdom and patience. And number 4, you know who you are speaking to. And then Shaykh